Where's my purse? Welcome to the Chaos Lovelies. It has been a wild week. First of all, thank you for joining me on this magical journey. I am beyond thrilled to have you here with me. But please remember that I am in no way a medical professional. And, don't take anything I say as advice. I'm just babbling on about my own personal experiments. I'm also possibly going to touch on some triggering stuff today. Nothing too intense in this one, but just, listen with caution. First off, though, I want to tell you about a recent realization that I had. It's about my poor dog. Now, really, he is the most spoiled baby ever and lives a very pampered, privileged puppy life. So there's really nothing poor dog about him. But he does suffer a little bit because of my ADHD. Although it is kind of his fault, too. He is super attached to me, and he follows me all over the house. It has actually really shown me just how much, I can't sit still. Having him constantly behind me every time I turn around to try to walk somewhere is pretty enlightening. But the realization came the other day when my husband and I were both trying to go down the stairs, and Oz was blocking the top of them. I mentioned how he never wants to go first, but then as soon as somebody else goes, then he starts going and he barrels past you because we have really steep stairs. We have a house that's over 100 years old, tiny steep staircase, and he's a very big boy. He takes those stairs 3 or 4 at a time. So once he gets going, he's not stopping. He's just going to barrel right past you, but he will not go before you. He will not go first. So it dawned on me then that he probably does this because I almost always start to go down the stairs, remember something, and then turn around and go back up the stairs. He can't stop once he's going, so he waits to see what I'm doing because he always waits until I'm halfway down the stairs before he starts. That poor dog really has ADHD by default. Okay, so now I want to talk about something that's a little less fun, something that has kind of plagued me my whole life, and I think is related to ADHD as well as being a result of my CPTSD too. And it is something that makes my life just so much more difficult for no reason, and that is imposter syndrome. Now, some of you might have heard of this, some of you might have this. The simple definition is it's the persistent inability to believe that your success is deserved or that it has been legitimately achieved as a result of your own efforts and skills. That's from dictionary.com. So I've always had imposter syndrome. I grew up never believing that anything I did was good enough. And even when I did succeed, I never really believed that I had earned it. I always just kind of felt like I had fooled everybody. And I lived in constant fear that everyone was going to find out I was a fraud. I don't know how that works. Rationally, I don't know how that works, but that's the thinking. This is one of the things that drives my husband nuts. He has no idea how I cannot be proud of having run a marathon or, for receiving a grant to write and stage a musical, among other things. I've done a bunch of stuff. I've forced myself through a lot of things to try to prove my worth over the years. And I think that's the thing. I see them as, just they were never good enough. Something was always wrong because in life things go wrong and nothing is perfect. But because of that and just because I didn't feel like I deserved to have achieved those things, I don't know. I've never really been able to celebrate them or feel good about them. There's other stuff tied in there too, that ties into the CPTSD. But yeah, I've never been able to explain it to him. It's mostly imposter syndrome. It's really weird to think that way. And this only just recently struck me, like just how strange it is, and that other people don't necessarily think this way, which is, frustrating. Yet another area where I am so behind that I kind of feel like I'm just in a different lane completely than everybody else. I had a bad bout of imposter syndrome recently, and it definitely affected my life and my work. I signed up a while ago for an online event that I was very interested in. I was super excited about it. It had to do with women with ADHD and being a better CEO of your company. Now, I'm not a CEO, but I am kind of the whole thing at the moment. And it was also specifically for women with ADHD, so I figured it was going to be super helpful and really interesting. The woman running it seemed awesome. I was really looking forward to it. Now, with ADHD, it is always questionable if I'm going to remember something like this when I sign up for it. Even if I sign up like a day or two ahead, it can slip my mind. It's quite possible. So if it doesn't go into my calendar on my phone with like an alert, maybe two, I'm probably not going to remember. I might remember. It's like a 50-50 at that point. But this one was definitely in the calendar. It was in the calendar. It had 2 alerts. I was really excited. I really wanted to participate. And I was a little nervous too. Like, I'll admit that. I definitely felt like I was kind of stepping out of a box, but I was excited to do that. I felt ready to do that. I don't know. I was really excited. And then instead of the usual thing that would derail me, the thing that I had planned for, the calendar and the alerts and everything, instead, I was suddenly crushed by a massive wave of imposter syndrome. And I sat there feeling sick, but absolutely frozen with indecision during the beginning time of the event. On both days. It was a 2-day event. And I sat there and I couldn't make myself log on to the event, but I was also just so completely disappointed in myself. And I was also sitting there knowing that I was fulfilling my imposter syndrome beliefs and kind of perpetuating the cycle. How do you get past that? Because I really have no idea. I have almost no practice in believing in myself, and it definitely does not come easy. I'm hoping that I'll get there eventually, but it is exhausting sometimes. Like, sometimes it just seems like so much work to heal everything and manage everything just to, like, function. Oh, but I keep going, because what else can you do? Except muddle through the best you can, I guess. I did get some soul relief recently. My husband and I celebrated our 20-year wedding anniversary by going to Maine, and the ocean is 100% my happy place. It revitalizes me, and I really try to go at least once a year. I don't always get to, but I really try because I feel like it just kind of washes me clean and I can start another year, This summer, it might be twice that we get to go to the ocean, and I am totally psyched about that. I think that I may eventually have to move to the ocean when I'm a little older. My husband and I have definitely discussed it. So I was wondering if this was an ADHD thing because, everything seems to be, which makes sense, knowing that it's a neurotype, like a brain thing, instead of just my crazy emotions, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I was wondering if these things were connected, and I went back to good old Attitude magazine, and this is what it said. Whether it's a need for a daily dose of outdoor exercise, a visceral pull toward any body of water, or a general appreciation for all things green and blue, those of us with ADHD seem to intuitively know the benefits of nature, and that time in it is vital for our well-being. So I still don't really know if it's related or not, but everybody does need a good dose of nature, and I know that I personally need one daily. And if it can be the ocean, it's that much better. Do you guys have a favorite place in nature? And do you feel like it helps your ADHD? I know I am just so grateful to live where I do. It is an absolute plethora of beautiful nature around here. Now, I love all things water, but my absolute favorite and most peaceful type of nature is a forest. They can be on mountains or not, but there is nothing that calms me like a forest. The effect is almost immediate, especially if it's an evergreen forest of some kind. That smell, I love that smell. And winter in the forest, I find especially magical. It's so quiet and peaceful, and I am just so, so grateful to have access to a place that has true peace and quiet. There's so much noise. I feel like I'm constantly listening to something during my day. And so taking a break to go like snowshoe out into the middle of a forest and just stand there, and maybe you hear a bird or a squirrel or something, but there's not very much. And it's just a different kind of quiet, and it is soothing. Oh, right now, where I am, it is summer, and it's a rainy one. We're actually in the middle of a huge storm right now, and there's flooding and all kinds of craziness. The humidity and the heat has been insane, and it is my least favorite type of weather. I hate humidity. I will say that it's better this summer because I shaved my head this past winter. So this is my first summer without having any hair to deal with the humidity. And it would have been so much worse if I still had my hair. My hair was really heavy. It got super frizzy. It was awful. I love having a shaved head. It was definitely a good choice. I am really enjoying having my kiddos home for the summer. I've been teaching my youngest to drive recently, and I kind of can't believe that he's old enough to, pilot a massive pile of metal on wheels down the road. It's really bizarre. I'm just working really hard at being in the moment and really enjoying everything as it happens. My kids are growing up, and they're so close to adulthood. And I know that they're still my babies and I'll still see them, but things are changing as they should, as is natural. But I just want to enjoy them as much as I can. Always. I hope you have some people in your life that you truly enjoy being around and that truly enjoy you, even when you're scattered and a little dysregulated. I hope that you get a chance to spend some time out in nature, get a little soul relief, and maybe take in some peace and quiet. And most of all, I hope you can find your purse.
A Frap Media production.